Hi everyone. So today I wanted to go over the essay examination chapter that McWhorter wrote in the back of your reader, and I thought we would start with that so that you can take the practice exam to get ready for next class period. Here is our timed writing prompt, and as you look through this, we'll revisit it, but you can see right from the get-go that we have 4 different readings that will appear on it. I can tell you that the ones that will show up on the practice exam will be the first two, Amy Tan and Plato. And the final exam, or the exam that you'll take for Friday, will have all 4 of them involved. Okay, so let's take a look at McWhorter here. Okay, we page through here a little bit. The first thing that McWhorter does is she talks about writing study sheets, and I think that that is something that, although with our exam the size of it makes it somewhat small and study sheets could almost be unnecessary, you're going to run into exams that are going to force you to do study sheets to remember what exactly you went over, especially final exams where you're trying to remember things from the beginning of the semester. And even with an exam like the one we're taking, it's kind of hard to remember what went on in a reading that you did a month ago. Okay, so there are some things that you can do, and often what you can do is, do topic study sheets where you kind of remind yourself what was going on with the topic that you read about, or the discussions that you had in class. The more that you can do to get closer to the type of information that you'll need to present back or to work with in the exam itself, the more you are going to be efficient with your time, and the more value you're going to put at work, or you're going to find in your studying. Okay, so just trying to list facts and stuff won't necessarily work if you're asked to apply, like that knowledge in some way. So if you're asked to apply something on exam, you're really going to want to study how to do that and practice that to prepare for that exam. And so that's what McWhorter's talking about here next. Predict essay exam answers, and or essay questions. Okay, and so here she talks about studying your course syllabus, study previous exams, listen to your instructor's comments, especially when your instructor does things like coughing and gives you subtle little hints, which some do, some don't. Um, Drafting some possible essay questions. Those past exams are really good sources of information. Sometimes you can talk to other students who have taken the professor in the past, and you can get some really good information about what exactly they have done. You can also listen very carefully when an instructor describes what will be on the exam. You can go in and talk with the instructor about it. Um, you know, Anything you can do to try to get a better grasp on that. Sometimes you just need to go in and take the first exam and judge from that. Unfortunately, at times you'll guess, or you'll estimate what is on the exam, and you'll be incorrect, and that will ultimately damage your final score, and that's a fact of life and existence. It kind of sucks, but that's the way it is. Um, there's, only so much you can do about it. Now, as far as our course, what I thought I would do for you is to show you a couple examples of past exams, okay, so that you know. Now, well, actually, let's start with the prompt itself. Right here, I'm telling you that you will exhibit the skills you've honed by completing a time exam centered upon the first few critical readings in our course this semester. Okay, so I'm talking right here. I'm writing you that I'm looking for the skills you've honed. And so even though we've had a spotty semester so far in terms of being in class and being able to develop critical skills, we will get there. But I'm looking for you to apply critical analysis skills, okay, and looking for you to apply writing as a process to the timed writing genre, that sort of thing. Okay, and do it wisely, not just for the sake of doing it. Okay, I'm telling you that it'll consist of 2 to 3 essay questions of varying complexity and point value. So expect them to count different points. Okay, and you will need to divide your time appropriately between the questions, making sure to answer the questions fully and directly as possible. So if they're of different point value, they're probably going to I'm probably going to expect you to spend less time on the ones of less value and more time on the ones of more value. Okay, here it's 50 minutes. I'm looking at time management and planning, so I'm actually going to look to see whether you did any planning. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. Responsiveness to exam questions, how directly your essays answer what is asked. The reason why I have that as criteria, which we'll discuss too in a couple minutes, is that is one of the primary things that I always hear from other professors. You know, they don't answer the questions. If they would only answer the question that was asked. Okay, that is one of the big issues that professors see with student writing in essay exams. Okay, and then of course critical analysis, just what I was talking about. Okay, and then I give you the dates down here. Now I'm showing you that because you can better judge what is coming down now. Now for next time I'll have a practice exam, and although you will probably take a look at that and open it up because I'm going to set it up so that it's timed, so once you open it up you will have to actually take it. Okay, so you're only going to, once you see the questions, it'll be a timed exam and you're going to have to take it. Okay, so you're going to have 50 minutes and you're going to have like one shot at it. Okay, and this is one from, wow, 2009. Whew, long time ago. Makes me feel old. Okay, so anyway, this one was on actually a novel. Okay, but I think this will tell you a little bit about what you might expect. Okay, so I have 2 questions here that they have to respond to. Answer the questions below, so they have to answer both questions. Answer the questions below as completely as you can in the time allotted. The length of time you spend on each should correspond to their assigned point values. Okay, so when you're doing timed exams, you want to pay special attention to the instructions because you can really go wrong quickly by missing something in the instructions. So make sure you know what's going on by paying attention to the instructions right away and making sure that you're clear about them. If you're not clear about them, go to the instructor directly and ask. Okay, So here right away, the first thing you want to do is take a look and see what's going on. So you have question 1 and question 2. And you see right away question 1 is 20 points and question 2 is 30 points. So 20 points and 30 points. So this one you should spend a little less time than this one, because this one's only worth 20 and this one is worth 30. If we would start right away, you might say, oh, I want to spend 20 minutes on this one and 30 minutes on this one out of 50 minutes. Okay. Now, realistically, you're going to spend 5 minutes or so getting started. Okay. Just something to think about. And then we can take a look at the kinds of questions here. Compare and contrast the motives of Rashid in his proposal marriage to Layla with her motives in accepting his proposal. Whose deception is more immoral? Explain your position using evidence from the novel to support it. Okay, so here asking for a compare and contrast, asking the students to take a position about whose deception is more moral, and for them to defend it. Explain your position using evidence, okay, and support it. Okay. Question 2. Consider Miriam's selfless act at the end of the novel. Was her sacrifice the only alternative open? Okay, here again I'm asking a question. Did Layla and Tariq choose the responsible and moral path by leaving Miriam to her certain fate? Explain your assertions using evidence from the novel to the best of your ability. So here, this one's kind of a little trickier, because I have 3 different questions here, and I want answers to them. Now probably this one's going to be a little bit more disjointed, and this is what sometimes professors will do. They'll give you like a series of things, and they'll expect you to answer, like a series of questions, or follow, like a series of, requests or questions that they'll ask. Okay, and so this is also a type of question that you'll find, but each one of them asks a certain question that you have to take a stance on and defend. Okay, so this is something here that you also want to take a look at. Okay, and so you can see that here for the practice exam, this is probably something, and I could show you practice exams that look identical to this sort of thing. Okay, and so I can tell you your practice exam may look similar to this. Okay. Now, next I'd like to show you something that looks similar to an exam that you might see. Okay. And this is from the same course. Okay. And so here, this is what the actual exam looks like in that course, or looked like. Okay. So the students came in, and this looks a little bit different than the practice exam. It's a little bit more complex. Okay. And so the students came in, duration's the same, point value is the same. This one was done in class, okay, but it has a little wrinkle here, because in part 1 they you have the same description, answer the questions in each part completely as you can, the length of time, but in part 1 they have to select one of 2 of these so they have a choice between 2 for this question. So they can either answer 1A or 1B, and then part 2 they have to answer this one. Okay, and you can see that for part 1 they compare and contrast the deaths of Nana and Miriam. Should they both be considered suicide? Argue your position. Compare and contrast Rashid's love for his son with Layla's love for him, whose actions express more love. Okay, argue your position. And so that there's a little bit more time at the beginning to try to decide this. Okay. And then part two, they don't have a choice. They need to answer this. Consider Layla and Tariq's decision to move back. Is their choice irresponsible, and does their desire to help their country clash with their role as parents? Explain your assertions using evidence from the novel to the best of your ability. Okay, and see, there's kind of like a multiple question. Okay, so multiple part question where you have to answer a couple questions within the framework of one question. Okay, and so this is one where your introduction might like actually frame this with a couple brief, like a brief statement that has like a couple responses. They, yes they do, and no they don't. Okay, then you go in and write like a paragraph on each. Okay. um, but anyway, so this might be also something you might find on an exam. I had one other one in here, but I won't do that to you. So, yeah, this one's ugly, and I won't do that to you. This one had both of them. Now, I might, I might, instead of having you choose for the 20 point, I might have you choose for the 30 point. It just depends. But one of these I'll probably have you choose one. Or it could happen. Okay. On the other ones that I do, if it's like a longer class, I'll throw some short answer in there, but you don't have the time to do that. Okay. And so you can also see that I usually have things where I'll ask some questions similar to things that you might run into in other courses, but you're going to run into a lot of different types of questions. That's only like a couple different types. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what you might study for my courses. Okay, so when you think about all the different readings that we've done, you like with mother tongue. Okay, when you think about that, we talked about the rhetorical situation, things like like what is correct English, is should we look down upon someone else's version of English if it is understood within like other relationships or other discourse communities, that sort of thing. And then when you look at these last three, Plato, Wynne, and Rifkin, you can take a look and compare, like perceptions of reality from the past versus the present versus the future. You could ask questions about, like what is reality? Has our perception of reality really changed that much through time? Or are we still asking the same kind of questions? Um, you know, we could take a look and consider, how whether or not like virtual realities, like really um, are that much freer than or that much more um, profound than the ones discussed in Plato. Um, you know, these are things that you may want to consider when you're looking and you're considering what kind of questions that might come up. If you noticed in those samples, the questions that happened in the practice exams tended to be limited to like like they were more simplistic in nature and more, like one-dimensional, and then the ones in the real exam tend to be more multi-dimensional, and that might happen as well too. Okay, so now let's go on to the next area here. Okay, and McWhorter discusses here how to draft answers in outline form. And here we really talk about how to take essay exams and how to apply the writing process. And the whole point here is that you want to take a look and consider how you're going to go about this. Okay, and the first thing that I would say about this is when you go in to to an exam, like for instance, if we pull up one of these again, let's see, I'll pull up this one.